on a foot.
Hello and welcome to math, where today we're going to learn more about slope-intercept. We're going to learn how to write an equation in slope-intercept form when you're given 2 points. Okay, so let's see here. Example 1 says, what is an equation in slope-intercept form for the line that passes through the points 1, -3, and 3, 1? All right, so the first thing we need to do is we need to find the slope. We're given these 2 points, we got to find the slope. So remember this formula. This is an important one to remember. All right, it's the change in y over the change in x. So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, so what we can do is we're given these 2 points here, right? We can label what's x1, what's x2, all that stuff, right? So 1 would be x1 because that's the first x they gave me. -3 there would be my y1 because that's the first y they gave me. 3 is my x2 and that 1 is my y2. So I can plug that and those numbers into my formula and find my slope. All right, so y2 we said was 1. So it's going to be 1 minus my y1. My y1 was -3. All right. X2 we said was 3, and we're going to minus to x1. X1 we said was 1. All right, so now we can simplify this and find our slope. So let's see here, 1 minus -3. A minus and a negative is the same as adding, so 1 plus 3 gives me 4. 3 minus 1 is 2, so I'm left with 4 over 2, which is the same thing as 2. So my slope, or my m, equals 2. Okay, so first thing you have to do is you have to find your slope. All right. The next thing we have to do is we have to find our y-intercept. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to substitute in the slope and one of the points. And we're going to plug those in for x and y, and we're going to solve for b. Okay, it doesn't matter which point you use. You can use either one, and I'll show you that here in a second. But you can use either one, and you'll get the same answer. So I start with my y equals mx plus b, and I'm going to plug in one of my points. So I plugged in this one up, this first one here first. So -3 was my y. So I replaced my y with -3. 2 was my slope. We solved for that. That's my m. 1 was my x. And now I got to figure out my b. Well, 2 times 1 is 2. And then to get rid of that, we would do -2, and that gives us -5 for b, right? All right, so let's see if I plugged in the other one. If I did y equals mx plus b, and I plug in that other point, I'm going to show you guys, you get the same answer. And I'm going to plug in this point, this 3, 1. Well, y is 1, and my slope was 2. We solved for that, right? My x is 3 for that point, and we're solving for b. 2 times 3 is 6, right? And then I would do -6 to get rid of it, to get rid of that and give me b. -6 minus 6. What's 1 minus 6? Oh, yeah, that's -5. So b equals -5. So you see how we get the same answer no matter which point we choose? So it doesn't matter which point you choose, you just have to choose one. I usually look at the numbers and say, all right, which one looks easier to me to work with? Like if there's like some big long number, I wouldn't really want to choose that one. Or if there's decimal numbers, forget that. I would choose like the easier one to work with, right? So what we did here though is we started with slope-intercept form. Then we substitute it. And then we solve for b. We solve for our y-intercept. That's what we just did there, right? Okay, so then once we find b, what we do is we substitute in the slope and the y-intercept into our slope-intercept form, right? So our slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, and then we plug in our slope, which was 2, and our y-intercept was -5, so we have -5, and then that's our final answer. Okay? All right, let's do one more example together. All right, so I'm given these 2 points. I got to write my equation, right? So I have y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. All right, and I labeled these. These are my x1 and my y1s because the first points they gave me, and this is my x2, my y2 because the second points they gave me. Okay? All right, so my y2 we said was 5, and then we're going to do minus my y1, which is 3, and then my x2 we said was 2, and then minus my x1, which we said was 1. And then I can simplify this. 5 minus 3 gives me 2. 2 minus 1 gives me 1. 2 over 1 equals 2. So that is my slope. My m equals 2. Okay? So that's important to know. All right, so now I got to take that information and I got to plug it into y equals mx plus b. Y equals mx plus b. Okay? So I'm going to plug in what I know. I'm going to choose one of these points. Doesn't matter which point. All right, I'm going to choose this first one because it has a 1 with it. All right, so my y for that first point is 3. Okay, My slope we just solved for, that was 2. My x there is 1. And now I got to find out what b is. Well, 2 times 1 is 2, right? And to get b by itself, I would have to do minus 2 to get rid of it and leave me with b. And then I can do the same thing over here. 3 minus 2 is 1. So my equation, I'm going to start back with that y equals mx plus b, and I'm going to plug in for m, and I'm going to plug in for b. I'm going to leave y and x alone. So y stays, m was my slope that we solved for, which was at 2, x stays, and now b is what we just solved for over here, our y-intercept. b equals 1, it's a positive 1, so I can put plus 1. Boom, and we're done. That's our equation. All right, so first we have to find our slope, and then we plug in information that we know into slope-intercept form. All right, let's do one more. Okay, so y2 minus y1. So this is y2, my second one. So negative 4 minus my first y, negative 3, over my x2, which was 8, minus my x1, which is 4. Negative 4 minus 3, negative 3. And minusing a negative is the same as adding. Negative 4 plus 3 would be negative 1. All right, 8 minus 4. 8 minus 4 is 4. So I have negative 1/4. So m equals negative 1/4. Okay, so now I can plug that into my equation. I can plug it into my equation. Y equals mx plus b, and I plug in what I know. Y equals mx plus b. All right, y, which one do I want to use here? Let's use the second one. All right, so my y value for this point is negative 4. So I'm going to plug negative 4 in for y. M is my slope that we just solved for, negative 1/4. X is 8, it says for that point. And we don't know what b is. That's what we're solving for, right? So negative 1/4 times 8 would be negative 2. So negative 2 plus b. And then I want to get b by itself, so I got to do plus 2 to get rid of that. Leave me with b. And do the same thing on this side, right? Negative 4 plus 2 gives me negative 2. So now I have my b, and I have my m. So now I can make my equation, right? Y equals mx plus b. So y equals m is negative 1/4. And the slope's always attached with the x. And my b plus b is negative 2. So it's negative 2, so I'm going to write minus 2. And that is my final answer. That right there is my final answer with my box and flower. Okay, so to find slope-intercept form when you're given 2 points, first thing you have to do is you have to find the slope. You have to find the slope, right? And we do that, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. First thing you do, find the slope. Then you plug in information into y equals mx plus b, and you solve for b. And then once you get b, you have your beautiful equation. Okay? All right, if you ever have any questions, please ask a teacher. I'll see you next time. Bye!